Welcome back to Project Independence in You on 88.1 FM, WCWP.org. I'm Rebecca Miller, hosting today along with Otto Los, and now we are at the segment of the show where we talk about the town. And that is always facilitated by Kristina Lou, who is the radio show producer for Project Independence in You, and just brings us these great guests every week and just so much information. Great information today. Project Warmth, and then Barbara Melman, Technology for the Terrified. I don't know. I just like saying Technology for the Terrified because it's funny and, get your attention. Because people are like, yeah, it's about time we had something like that. So we had some fun with Barbara, and she'll be joining us again in person the end of February. So, Kristina, what is happening? What's going on in the town?
Well, there is a lot going on. I was taking in all those busy writing notes from your first two segments, which were really, really wonderful. And I always want to encourage people, if you missed any information or, at the end of the video, if you're watching it, we'll have, the contact information. But you can always call 311 or 516-869-6311 to get any of the speakers that we've had. Barbara Melman, I'm not sure if we even mentioned it, this segment. She also provides Zoom training via the phone. So if you want to, dive into that world, there's a lot of hybrid stuff going on now. Right. She can help you do that too. And I was really sitting back enjoying, Otto and Barbara, because Otto, I like it. You're like in the, the Android camp, and she was doing like the iPhone stuff. And I like that you guys could, give your 2 cents, but there really is, so much. I even think about my own self, with my phone. I use it for certain things, but there's really such a host of things you could do, and I laugh because I'll follow these TikTok things. I'm like, things you didn't know you could do on your iPhone. And I'm like, my mind is like always blown by these things. But
it's unbelievable. You can go on and on and on. You mentioned the calendar earlier. Mm-hmm. The calendar is a tremendous feature. And like from year to year, I used to have to write Kristina's birthday, April, whatever,
But I like that was the example you did, Otto.
You'd have to carry it over to the next calendar when the new year started. I used to use Daytimer, which was like a state-of-the-art manual system back then, right? And I remember carrying all these dates over. And I was in the sales world, so we didn't have the benefit of a good technology for follow-up. You had to develop your own system of some kind. And I would love to have had all this stuff back then.
I know. Well, listen, I have to laugh because I love my phone calendar. I have everything in there, but I am also semi-partial to like a hard copy calendar as well, because I like to like just visually see it all on something. You could actually see it in the background. That's my mom every year gets me a calendar. This year's theme was like herbs and their different properties. January's dill. So I have like a bunch of facts about dill and its benefits. But on the calendar, I handwrite in everyone for that month's birthday or like anniversary, whatever kind of occasion it is. I also have it in my iPhone, but there's something for me about seeing like the month of January just like laid out, and I kind of like plan my stuff. So
you can print your calendar.
Yes, I do that also. I have actually at work, but I like a decorative calendar, and it adds like a little pizzazz in the kitchen. But so if anyone, you can do both too. Listen, you could be.
You do love calendars. I think every year you give me a calendar that for my desk, and it always has sayings, nice things.
Yes, well, I actually our little radio show fam has the holidays for days calendar.
That's right.
Which is so you could do both, but I do agree though, especially if I have like a doctor's appointment or whatever, a hair appointment, the fun appointments. I love putting that in my my phone, because, and especially too when you want to like look back and say, when did I get this done, and you're able to do that very quickly. And I think
you can set up a notification also that says send me a text or an email 3 days ahead, so I can prepare for it. Maybe I want to make a list of questions or whatever.
No, and there's really a lot. I was like thinking, when, especially for seniors, once you get over that, fear and get more acclimated, and you were both so right. It's a lot of trial and error. you know, you play on your phone and you see what you start. I mean, how many times have we all just like stumbled upon something? Like, how did I even like get, to this place? But I think, for a senior too, who's alone, it does open your world to activity and to connecting and to doing fun things. I think about, when she had mentioned solitaire. I mean, my grandparents, that was like the go-to game when I was a little girl. Like solitaire was like the game, actually playing it hard copy, but it's nice to do on your phone, and it does like pass the time a lot of times. Listen, my mom, I laugh, is like the queen of, a random game on her phone, because I'll always get like the notifications on my phone, and it helps when she's anxious. So if she's worried about something, she's like, that's like her go-to thing, is to play some silly, Candy Crush kind of game to, just keep your brain on something else. And I think too, Barbara mentioned about just the components of doing like a Sudoku and keeping your brain active. There are a lot of positive things to it. Obviously, we're not encouraging people to be on their phones 24/7, but there really are a lot of wonderful things that you're able to do. And it's fun. I like that, we talked about fun things, because that's a huge part of, having your phone and stuff. So
Right, because it's important to be able to utilize the phone and get used to it. Because I think part of the problem with with the seniors, I'm going to say the older generation, using the phone, especially with the transportation program, that is a tool they really need when they're going to their doctor. They have to call for a pickup or return, their taxi company. Some of them will have like the office call for them, but if they're waiting outside and the taxi's late, they have to either go back inside or, and there's ways to program phone numbers in your phone. So it's just done very easily. So, so I think by looking at the phone as kind of not being afraid of it, that
it's like a tool, it's a really helpful tool.
Well, I don't know how you can actually eventually you will there'll be no option. You cannot go to a show or a sporting event without a phone, because your tickets are in the phone, whether you like the idea or not. That's where they are. Yesterday or the day before, there's this place out in Long Island called Top Golf. And
I want to go to Top Golf.
Well, it's great, by the way.
Oh, did you, Otto? That's like you have to tell me about Top Golf.
It's a national chain, and it's in Holtzville, Long Island. This place is huge, and they have these bins that you go into with whoever you're with, like up to 6 people. There's couches, you can get food, heater, the whole bit, and they have all kinds of games. But before you even get to that point, here's where I'm going. I had to make a reservation online in order to get there. All right. When we got there, they said they will send me a text when our booth, our bay is ready. And then it got the bay and it says, go to 234, bay 234. So again, there was no manual way to handle it. You had to have a phone that told you where to go. When you get to the other end, now you're in a setting where you have an option of playing different golf courses, simulating. They have targets out in the, all the way out in the field, and the ball has a chip in it, so that it actually, you see on a video, you actually see the flight of your ball, and it measures the height, the distance, the speed, the whole bit, like you see on television. It's unbelievable, but
it's so funny.
Founded around the fact that if you don't go there with somebody who knows a little bit of technology, I don't know how you're going to do it. You got to talk to people. What game you're going to play, how many people, what's your name, what's your email address. Whether you like the idea or not, that's the way it is. Similar experience at an eye doctor yesterday. I walk in the door. What's there? A battery of kiosks with tablets on them. What do you have to do? You have to take your insurance card, your driver's license, you dip them into a scanner, and then you tell them any changes, and then boom, and they say, okay, have a seat.
No, you're so right, Otto. And it's
done. So
I think
to fight this is.
It is, and it's okay to.
There's nowhere to go
your
by
way
fighting
into it.
it.
I think that's the point. It's and that's where like a lot of our technology for the Terrify classes, and we had announced in the last segment, we're very excited. Barbara Melman is going to be coming back doing a live in-person one. It's on February 28th, and it's going to be at Clinton G. Martin Park at 11 a.m. And it's really going to be a refresher course. She hasn't been able to provide it because of the pandemic. So this is going to be kind of just updates, because we certainly know that things are always updating and changing. So she'll do that. And I think these classes are a great way to, dip your toe in the water. No one's saying, you pick up this device and boom, you are like, you know how to do every single thing on there. There are little things, and Otto is right. A lot of things now you need the phone to do. And it's just easier, even silly things, I love my CVS app. So random, but it's in there I get to put all my, I go through, I see, deals and rewards, and it's, you add it right to the card, right? So, normally everyone jokes, you go to CVS, you get this giant, receipt of, all your coupons, and then you have to somehow save that. I mean, you guys should only know the length of these receipts that I've received. So it always inevitably gets lost. And this way, I think about this all the time. I do it right on my, as soon as it comes in, so, you have $6 extra or this coupon. And it just, so this way it's saved on your card. So automatically, if I happen to buy, some Listerine and I had a coupon, it'll come off immediately, so it's things like that. And that's just, a small, simple little thing, but it really is such a convenience. So I think it's important for people to, figure out these things, and it really does. And look at the safety features. I mean, and we're going to talk about that more next week, as we have 2 people coming on talking about Amazon Alexa and the benefits of that for the senior, and also for the person who might be the caregiver for the senior. So there's a lot of interesting ways, and listen, it's constantly developing, and I'm intrigued to do it because, like I said, there's a lot that I don't even know. So I think it's an important topic, and like Otto said, you just got to kind of ease your way into it.
No, there's a lot that a lot of people don't know, including me. It's an ongoing. That's one of the beauties of it, frankly, is it's ongoing learning, which is a good, healthy thing. You're always learning something new, and that's healthy, in my opinion.
No, it is. And YouTube, really, I was laughing at you guys because that is such an amazing tool. Obviously, listen, there's a lot of crazy things you can get, yourself, silly things you can get sucked in, but there really is, anytime Jay and I get some kind of product, right, that we have to like put together, or we're trying to figure out what's the best review, my husband is watching endless reviews on products, right, because he needs to have like the, God forbid he makes like the wrong choice in, something he's buying. So, all constantly. And now forget it, because we can stream on the TVs, it's like streaming, right onto the TV. So, but it's, if we're trying to figure out how to put something together and you just want to get the picture, it's amazing, because I really, truly feel there is a video for like anything, like and it's specifics. You type in the product number or the model number of something, and it's incredible, because, and I love that because it makes you feel like, someone else had the same question I had in my brain. I love that on my Google search when it'll pop up and be like, clearly I'm not the only one like wondering these bizarre questions.
What's amazing about that, though, is that there's always somebody just like you and I who decides to take the time to make a video.
Bless those people.
Not like paid professionals. These are just people like, that said, I'm going to make a video and share it with people. It's unbelievable.
It's impressive.
Right? It's funny. I had, when I first got the air fryer, it has the basket that turns, and it was impossible to put in and take out. I mean, like me and the kid, we were trying, it was like last year, a year and a half ago, and it's very hot, and you get it and you find it very, very hard to place it. And, it was from Pampered Chef. So I called my girlfriend. I said, listen, this thing is ridiculous. I love the air fryer, but this thing, she's like, all right, I'll return it. And then I said, you know what, I'm just going to go. Let me just like do a YouTube thing. And sure enough, when I got it, there was this tool that it was like a U, and you put the basket on it, and it held it at the ends where the prongs came out. And that's what it was for. And you put it in and it goes right in, and then you take it out and you use it to take it out when the thing's really hot. And it was like, oh my God,
now
like you like that.
The air fryer is a good subject by itself, by the way,
Yeah.
Do you have an air fryer toaster oven or just an air fryer?
I have one that does toast and I use it every
Okay,
day,
so
but it's
that'd be an
not a
air fryer.
toaster oven. It's the air fryer that, I know how to toast with, but
We have an air fryer, which was my brainstorm maybe 2 months ago, and I think I showed you I
Yes.
burnt the first meal.
yes,
The problem I
that was
have is
funny.
that this the one I have is smaller than I think we should have.
Yeah.
The area, like if you want to do hamburgers and French fries, all right, you can't do hamburgers and French fries you, because the French fries take up the whole air fryer, and
So it
you know,
depends, that really could be a whole topic itself because it's the world of air frying. Like I'm very novice in it because I have one that has the two baskets. So you could have
Mhm.
like two separate items cooking. And in theory, I love it because that's really great. And it's good for, it's just my husband and so but if I'm cooking for, my family, it gets a little time consuming because it's small. The baskets
Right.
aren't like your normal giant air fryer. So it's great because I love the idea of cooking because most of the time when I'm air frying, I want to air fry chicken and I want to air fry Brussels sprouts. So that it's so wonderful for that. And, I literally, I have to read the manual or maybe I'll just YouTube it, in our technology thing. But I have all different features on there between broiling and baking. I'm always just like air frying at this point. So, I mean, that might be our next topic, guys.
Yeah, really. Maybe we should we could probably have a 2-hour show on air frying. But
Right.
on that note, we have to take a quick break. You're listening to Project Independence in You, Talk of the Town, 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. We will be right back after a quick break.
Take WCWP with you wherever you go with the WCWP app. Listen live 24/7 to all of our streams, all from one app. Plus, call the studios directly from the app and visit our social media. Download the app through the iOS App Store on Apple devices or the Google Play Store on Android by searching WCWP Radio or visit WCWP.org for links. The WCWP app, available now on iOS and Android devices.
Welcome back to Project Independence in You on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. It's the Talk of the Town hour, and we've been talking about air fryers, which I think is such a common topic these days. And it's just a great tool. I mean, I have a convection oven, so that's kind of like the whole, I guess, foundation for what an air fryer is. My oven is a convection oven, so it's forced air. So it's new because my oven died, but I really think maybe I've used it twice since I got it because I only use the air fryer. I mean, it's just
Well,
I'll tell you, the air fryer is great for reheating pizza. So just a fun fact, it comes out very good.
There you go.
now, one of the things that somebody told me is like I buy home fries in a delicatessen sometime on a weekend, bacon and egg sandwiches, home fries.
You're
Put
talking
the
my
home
language.
fries into the air fryer,
Nice crisp.
throw them in.
Mhm.
But the problem is that in the beginning, I didn't do this, but if you put parchment paper in the pan under the air fryer, you now don't have to clean anything. You just take the parchment paper with all the crumbs from the potatoes and throw it out. And I find that to be very helpful, in keeping things clean. And you talked about the pizza. If the pizza drips down onto the pan, it wouldn't do that. It'd be dripping into the parchment paper.
The only thing that confuses me on my thing, which I have to look, because every time we've done that, we've poked holes in it because it has like the holes on the bottom that, you need that air to like go through. So I wonder how that would actually work. I always have to poke holes because I'm like, I don't want to block the air. So I'm not really sure. So
Poke holes
Right.
in what? The pot?
in like the tin foil or the parchment paper or whatever it is.
Cuisinart says do not put tinfoil into an air fryer. So that's
Yeah,
a
I haven't
question.
in mind, but my friend does all the time.
Yeah.
And the ninja, she's got the ninja. So who knows? Listen, I'm gonna have to find some. I'm very intrigued by this topic.
Do we have any air fryer authorities?
Well, I'll reach out to our friends over at Cornell Cooperative because I feel like she knows everything and anything about cooking, and maybe they know it. Because in all seriousness, I think an air fryer is great too, especially for a senior who is, whether it's just you alone or just with one other person. It's a great way to, have these meals, and it's not that complicated to do, and it's condensed, and whatnot. So I do think
And it's on the counter. You're not bending
right,
like heavy trays and
right,
lifting up and
absolutely. So
yeah.
I do think
But
it's
the only
actually,
problem is what I mentioned. If you can only do one item in there, that's not going to do it because you can't make a meal.
yes,
Depends on which one you get, right?
Yeah,
yes,
that's what my point is, that there's, what are your needs? I didn't
yeah,
think about it.
Yeah.
that's right.
You know,
Listen, the problem is I'm always like, what is my need? And then I'm like, wait, I should have got that one, so it's a whole thing. But anyway, we will have to find that as a topic. I want to, if you are part of our email distribution list, which you should be, or if you're not, you can always call and say, I want to be added to the email list, and you can call 516-869-6311, because that's our best way of giving you all kinds of information, hot off the press. And I just sent out yesterday, I believe. We are scheduled for our March shows in February. I mentioned next week, which I can't believe it's already February next week. We're going to have on Amazon Alexa. And then we're going to have on also in February, American Heart Month, heart health tips. And then we also have on the Long Island Council on alcoholism and drug dependence. And they're just going to talk about substance abuse during this whole pandemic, which we know is certainly a major issue. And then we're into March. And in March, we're going to have on EAC Network, who provides obviously our social work services, our partners, and they do our respite program. They also do Meals on Wheels. So they will be on. We're going to have on Ron Fatula doing some elder law, what you need to know now, because there's certainly a lot of updates that go on with that. We're having seniors helping seniors in home care services will be on. And then we have our rescheduled topic of the importance of sleep. So
Right.
that's all in March, which is really exciting. So we have a lot of really, really informative shows coming up, and great. I'm sure they're going to all be filled with a lot of golden nuggets. So I encourage everyone, certainly check that out. And then you are also able to, if you have the time or the availability, you can, on Fridays, as we're doing this live and in person right now, on Zoom, not in person, I'm not sure virtually, whatever we call this, you could join the webinar and, watch it live, the show, if you so would want to. So that's also that. But then you can catch us, obviously, on North Hempstead TV, which you may be watching. Also, Beck, I think you've probably seen, we have a giant trailer in the Clinton G. Martin Park parking lot, kicking off on Monday. That is going to be a COVID-19 testing site through Advanced Cardiovascular Diagnostic. Which I think is really interesting about this is that they're providing a bunch of different services. So there's going to be rapid antigen and PCR tests. There's also going to be antibody testing available there.
Really?
The rapid antigen test and the PCR test are administered in the comfort and safety of your vehicle. The results for the rapid test you will get on site, after a few minutes or so. They're accepting all insurance. So I just think that's a great, a great thing. And I really like that they're having all these different services.
They're doing an antibody test too?
Yeah. Yes, they are.
Does it say how they do that? Is that
it says it just says a spike protein antibody testing, determine if there is a level of IgG antibodies that may provide protection after receiving the vaccine. So whatever their form of test is, they'll figure that's
great.
So, and I just want to tell people the schedule. It's going to be every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. It's going to be on Sundays from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And as I said, that's over at Clinton G. Martin Park in New Hyde Park. You could sign up online for an appointment. They have a link. And I'm not even going to bother reading it because it's a bunch of numbers that you'll be confused about. But you could also, if you do not have access to online, you can call the office directly and make an appointment. So that's 516-488-5050. Obviously, you could always call 311.
Right.
And we could help you out with that because there's a lot of great things. So it's nice. It's in the parking lot's very big. It's spaced out. So I think that this is another great way to, if you need to get a test, to get your test.
And that's for all ages, right?
That is for all ages, yes.
And do you have to be a town resident?
It doesn't say that on here. So I'm thinking you don't. It doesn't
Right.
specify that on the flyer, at least. I could find out more detail, but it does not. It
Doesn't indicate that, then you probably, anybody I'm sure can go. Yeah.
Right, and usually that would.
Right. Because all they require is whatever insurance.
Yeah,
Right,
it says
yeah.
it takes all forms of insurance, which is very
Great.
very cool. So that is that. Next week we have on February 2nd, we have our Project Independence Virtual Senior Advisory Committee. That is going to be from at 11 a.m. Obviously, if you're interested, you can call 311 or 869-6311 and get the Zoom link for that. So it should be a great, we're going to have the new supervisor will be there. Some town board members will, be introduced. We're going to spotlight one of our fabulous organizations we partner with over at North Shore Child and Family Guidance, who does our caregiver respite grandparent program. So we're
Such
gonna
a
have
great
updates on
program.
just all our PI stuff that is going on. So it should be a great meeting. And then in exciting news, which fingers crossed, it continues because obviously we know things kind of change often. On March 16th, we will be having a hybrid, our first hybrid advisory committee meeting. That's going to be over at Clinton G. Martin Park. So we're working out the fine details of that because we're going to figure out a way to, obviously people are comfortable to come in person. And if you for whatever reason, or still want to be virtual, you could access that too. So
Now,
we,
Christina, typically at Clinton Martin Park, it was the New Hyde Park Advisory Committee.
Mhm.
I'm assuming that this is
yes,
all inclusive,
all inclusive,
the whole town.
the whole, yep, all regions right now.
Right. Okay.
So we're going to see, obviously we're going to space it out, just figure out. So we're figuring out all the logistics for that. And if we're going to have a speaker or whatever we're going to do, it's exciting that we were able to do this. So stay tuned for more details on that as well. We also, I want to remind people, if you are interested in participating in any kind of social group over at Project Independence, you can sign up. We have our social discussion group, our men's group, the caregiver support group. Those are all virtual for the month of January and February. So that's just and what's great, these groups, this is based upon the group's comfortability. So the group as a whole says we want us to maintain virtual or we want to come in person. So it's really a collaborative effort, which I think is really nice. There's also Golden Hearts Bingo, which is over at the Roslyn Community Center. So you're able to play some bingo and get your blood pressure checked, which is great because February is Heart Health Month. So it's certainly a reminder to do that. So
a lot of people, when they play bingo, they get pretty excited. So they're
that's right. I know. I'm very curious to know if they're going to do the blood pressure before or after, or maybe they'll have to do a before and an after.
Bingo used to be a game that was everywhere. And there'd be people that were professional bingo players.
Oh yeah.
They'd buy
it's
5
impressive.
cards,
And listen,
10
and I'm
cards.
talking like all ages. I've seen all ages of people get very competitive and very serious. I've seen bridal shower bingo, get very serious.
Oh yeah.
But so that is, and we have Fridays at Yes We Can. We'll be kicking off in February as well. There's going to be exercise for balance and strength, and that's through our partnership with NYU Langone Health. There's going to be our current events group, What in the World is Going On? And then, of course, Color Me Calm, which is like some mindful coloring, which is fabulous. So that all kicks off on February 4th at 9:30 a.m. over at the Yes We Can Community Center. So
I wanted to clear up a little confusion about that because, we have the fitness program that's also starting the week. I think it's the 8th it starts, that whole week, 7th or 8th. And
the 8th.
Because we're not able to, at this time, have as many people in each class, we limit it to one class per participant for this session, the spring session, winter spring session. That has nothing to do with the Friday program. So people think
totally separate.
They do the exercise, they can't do Friday at Yes We Can. Not true at all. Exercise is a separate program, and you can actually do all 3 of the programs at Yes We Can. So it's a total separate thing. Even if you take the balance program, it's, even though it's pretty much, an exercise-based program, it's its own individual program, and has nothing to do with our exercise program.
Great.
So
That's definitely an important an update, because I think people, so you can do, which is really good.
do it.
On February 23rd, we have on from Cornell Cooperative Extension, is doing American Heart Month, as I had mentioned, is February, and they're going to be talking about first-rate fats, which I thought is really interesting. I love their kind of innovative topics, because they're going to teach you kind of what fats are good for you, and just kind of how to have a heart-healthy diet, and just, I feel like, there's a lot of gray area. People aren't sure, because there are some good fats that you need. So they will be talking about that, which is good nutrition and all kinds of heart health tips. And that is over at Magnolia Gardens on February 23rd at 11 a.m. So you can call to register for that as well. Beck, you want to just tell us a little bit about exercise, because that is starting in February. Is there availability still open for all classes at this point?
Yeah, so just call 311. There are a few classes that are full, and then we could put you on a wait list.
Okay, great.
Which just means that, maybe come March, if things open up a little bit, we might be able to, have more people in the class. Because right now, certain rooms were limited to, a certain number. And so we just want everyone to know that. And, we have our regular instructors who, have been with us through the pandemic and before. We're doing a lot of yoga, a lot of fitness. Of course, Margaret is doing her dance fitness classes. She's got 2 classes on Monday. She's not starting up again until March. So she took some time off for some fun, and she will be teaching again in March. 2 classes also at Port Washington Activity Center. We've got, I think, 3 classes at Yes We Can, 4 classes at CGM. It's all we're doing it based on the places that have big enough rooms to accommodate not just a good number of people, to also socially distance. So there wasn't a lot of places we could do it, and also, follow all the guidelines. So, hopefully as we get further into spring, we may be able to open up more spots, so, yeah, just call 311, get your name on the waiting list. And also, if you have any questions, you can always, call me, just call me through 311 and I will call you
And
back.
you could still always watch classes on North Hempstead TV as well. So I always like having that kind of, you're able to, even though if you can only take one class, you're able to supplement it, throughout the week. And speaking of North Hempstead TV, there's just a recent change, a week or 2 ago. So you're able to access North Hempstead TV on channel 18 and now channel 65, and that's on the Optimum World. So in villages, it's usually channel 65, and channel 46 on Verizon Fios. So I just want people to be aware of that. The channel changed, so I don't want, we were getting some calls like, where is this? So that is what it is right now. So once again, on Optimum, if you have, it's channel 18 or channel 65, and on Verizon Fios, it's channel 46.
Right.
So you could.
I was wondering about that. Why does every Optimum customer have both channels, 18 and 65? Why is it on 2 different channels?
I think I'm not sure, because I'm not in the town, but I think it depends on where you are, like it'll pick it up. So if I'm in an unincorporated village or an incorporated, whatever, I'll have to, the channel will be different. I don't think you're necessarily getting both. I could be wrong. But I think that's it, so if I'm in the village of Mineola, I'll have, channel 65 as opposed to channel 18, which I believe is the case. And in fun news, my friend, who actually lives in Glen Cove, sent me a screenshot of myself on North Hempstead TV, because they were picking it up in Glen Cove. And he was like, what is my friend doing on TV? So he said he felt very excited to have a TV star friend. So apparently in Glen Cove, we are there as well, which is
not only there, West Islip.
We're on right now.
Sent me
We're on 18 now.
Oh, there we go.
But and 65, I don't have.
Yep. So then you answered our question. There we go, Otto.
I answered the question.
There you
We're
go.
on
See, and
18.
I'm glad I gave out the right information. So
Yeah, but
I
you
really
know,
encourage people to check out. I think North Hempstead TV, especially during the pandemic, really has developed amazing content. You know, as I mentioned, the exercise classes on there, the radio show. There's been a lot of specials. The civil rights special was absolutely incredible. That I know
Yeah.
they re-air a lot, and for different holidays and programs, you know, they have stuff on there. So I think it's a wonderful tool that I just continues to have better and better programs.
now we're on 18 now. Normally it was 9 o'clock, so now it's 11:37, and we're on.
It depends because they will add, you know, it's at different times. So that's why I always encourage people. They do have, you know, they will air like our first hour of our show at one time and then Talk of the Town at another time. So I always encourage people to check the website, or you could obviously call 311.
My
and
lawn
get-
guy Ray sent me a text yesterday and said he saw me on television,
See, look, we are
and-
just being
See that?
spotted
and
everywhere.
he
guys.
agreed with what I said about doctors, whatever that was. It wasn't intended to be negative, if that's the way it came out. You know,
Oh.
about the fact that doctors are on the clock. Yes, that's a fact.
Yeah,
But
it's just the
that
truth.
doesn't make
You
them
know, we're
bad
just
people.
speaking the truth here. So I definitely, and Otto, last week you had asked me a question, and I had sent it to you on a private text, but I told you everyone I would come back with it. We were talking about lifeguard certification, and I like talking about this topic because even though we have an impending snowstorm coming, I like to think of, you know, sunnier times, you know. So if you have obviously are interested in becoming a lifeguard, or your grandchild or your friend or neighbor, whoever it is, wants to be a lifeguard, the town is offering certification courses. It's a 4-week American Red Cross blended lifeguard training course. The classes begin on March 7th. You must be 15 years of age or older and pass the pre-test requirements in order to participate, period. Once you pass the pre-test, there's going to be a fee of $325. Just so you know, that's all the details on that. It's over at Tully Park. And to call and get more information or to sign up, call 516-739-3055.
Okay, well, we're going to take a quick break. You're listening to Project Independence in You on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org, and we will be right back.
WCWP is your home for great music and great conversation. You'll find all that and more on WCWP.org. Listen live on the web, check out the lineup, subscribe to podcasts, and stay up to date on the latest station events. Get in touch with us and let us know if you like what you're hearing. And find out how you can support or get involved at the only community public radio station serving Nassau's North Shore. Plus, sign up to get a free bumper sticker. It's all online at WCWP.org.
And welcome back to Project Independence in You on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. We're now in our final segment of the show, of Talk of the Town, and we're just really getting a lot of information. Christine, I feel like sometimes Talk of the Town, we get caught up in topics, but this segment has just been mostly what is going on in the town. And it's unbelievable because there's so much stuff, and you know, and it's winter, so there's still good stuff going on, and a lot of good stuff on North Hempstead television. I mean, there really is. It's really, you know, you have options, and we've got our hybrid programs, we've got in-person programs, so you know, we're moving right along.
That's right. It's nice, and it's exciting to look at. And as the weather gets nicer, I'm sure there's going to be more and more programs. You know, I'm a fan of like the outdoor event program things. I think are really fun. So we will obviously, as soon as we get everything, I have, you know, my papers are all over my table, so we will be talking about that. But in not so fabulous news, we saw in Newsday just 2 days ago, there was an article talking about scammers and COVID-19 kits. Unfortunately, you know, every time there's something that comes out, the scammers find a way to kind of piggyback on that. You know, we were just talking about, you know, the past couple of weeks about how you can file with the USPS, the post office, in getting your free COVID tests mailed to your house. But of course, you know, now is the time, you know, for scammers to figure out how to do that. So there's a lot of people receiving either emails or phone calls With people claiming that they are online providers of these COVID-19 tests, and in exchange for getting your social security number and to send it to them through text, email, or phone, that you will get, your free at-home COVID test. And I could see where people could think, oh, okay, like I have to give out this number so this way they have track that I filed for it. We're in a confusing time. I understand how someone could get kind of caught up in that. But kind of the rule of thumb is don't give out your social security number like ever.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's kind of the rule of thumb, obviously in some rare circumstances, but anytime anyone is asking for that, do not, go down that road. So just, the article was just talking about the details of that and really just advising people to just hang up on anyone offering these and just really be aware of the emails, from unknown senders. And it's so important because I think about it all the time, and I have these conversations with people of all ages. So this isn't just a senior, kind of thing. Emails today, the amount of emails that I get, whether they're legit and scam, I mean, it's a combination. But it's so important to really click on like the actual, you'll see, for example, I'll get an email that says Amazon. So, you might, okay, Amazon sending me an email. But then when you click on it, it'll say like ABCDEFG, at, AOL.com, whatever it is. And you know that that's not a real email address for this company. So it's so important to do that because the email subject in itself can really look legit. I mean, there are some times I've seen it and I'm like, oh my God, like this has, it'll say your account. I just got yesterday a thing saying, your Amazon account has been locked, due to, and like, you'll see that and you get yourself nervous, and it's click here, in order to resolve that. So, the first thing I always do is check that email, and see, and then,
right. And they're close sometimes because like they'll use a 0 instead of a letter O. So, you really, if it looks sketchy, it is, and if it has anything to do with any account that you have, any credit card, just call them. Go to your own.
Call the number you have for them, right?
Call the phone number on your credit card and explain, I just got an email, and they'll probably say, nope, we don't do that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And that's what we always say.
I'm sorry, but in the first segment of this show, we were talking about the need for technology and how you can enjoy it and so on. And then somebody's hearing this part of it and saying, why do I really want to get involved?
I know.
I think it's not as complicated and scary as it sounds, all right? If you didn't instigate this email, forget about it, all right? Really, you're not going to get hung if you don't answer it. You don't have to answer every email like people might think. You just ignore it.
It's the same thing. I think people need to think of it like their telephone, their house phone. Yeah. I mean, I was saying like I never realized how often my house phone rang until like I worked remote, during the pandemic. I'm like, this thing like rings all day long with a bunch of bogus stuff. I mean, we would laugh, about, our car warranty. I mean, that was like our running joke during the pandemic because we would all get it literally like constantly. It slowed down a little bit. They're calling me still about student loans that I don't even have anymore, because my husband even freaked out. He's like, you still have student loans? I was like, no, like this is just, like what's going on the, but I think, the way you avoid those things, and let it go to voicemail, think about that, like with your email, like you just let it go there. And you're so right, Otto, you don't have to be sitting there answering everything. And the best rule of thumb always is to call the legitimate number that you have for whatever company or service it is and ask them, directly, because, maybe they'll be like, oh yes, that was us, or no, it wasn't. Chances are usually is, oh no, that wasn't us. But it's definitely, I think you're right, Otto. It's just being aware, and that's kind of with everything in life. Everything kind of has, two sides to it all. So
there was one scam that was really kind of scary, and they did prey on seniors. And then, I mean, eventually it started out with everybody, but then someone would call and say they were calling from Microsoft, and they asked you to go to your computer. We detected something on your computer. Go to your computer, and they told them how to get their IP address, and they were able to go, get every detail, every email, every password.
Mhm.
I mean, it's horrible. So like back then, it's like no one's calling you to tell you
Yeah.
that your computer's broken. It's
That's
just
the last thing on their mind.
right.
Yeah.
They're not
No,
there
but
to
that's
help.
such a good point, and especially, with something like that, it's it was preying on seniors because it happened to a couple of people I knew. Even like my aunt, I remember had received that, and it's they're preying like on the fact that you're in a panic. It's not like everything there is to know about this computer, and then you're like, oh my god, I don't know how to, so it creates this panic, and that's true, Beck, because that was definitely a hyper scary
Right.
one.
It was an education too,
Yeah.
because for everybody, I remember getting a call and I'm like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, how do
Right.
you know? I said, well, what's
Right.
wrong with my computer? What are you detecting?
Hmm.
And he's like, we're getting an error message. I'm like, well, what error message?
Hmm.
And it's just like, and then they hang up on you because they know you're not going to
Right.
fall.
Right. That you're right. You're
Hey, I
annoying
just
them.
got a very interesting text from one of my daughters. All right.
Hmm.
I'm going to read it to you.
Mhm.
Hey, Dad, I'm wondering if Project Independence might have a small project that Nick could work on. He needs 10 hours of some kind of professional communication activity, and he'd like to do something meaningful that possibly incorporates his knowledge of Spanish. No rush, but let me know if anything comes to mind.
Friends
That
helping
leads me
friends.
to thinking a couple of things, really. One of my granddaughters just wound up being a social worker in a school, all right, a high school. And I'm thinking, I'm going to talk to her about the possibility of coming up with some kind of a key club plan or something
Hmm.
where it works together with Project Independence. And this just triggered that a little more. Do we have any uh, programs where high school kids
Intergenerational.
particularly?
How old is he, Otto?
Well, he's in college.
So he's
Mm.
20 over 21.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, he
Yeah.
could. What about even friends calling the friends program? He could volunteer to maybe call maybe a senior who is Spanish speaking, and can check in with the person, or I don't know. There's
This
things.
is purely,
Yeah,
off the wall, to be blunt about it.
No, it's
But
always something, listen, obviously right now we're still in this kind of weird limbo where things aren't, like fully back. So, it's kind of tricky, but I
yeah.
do think, eventually, which I find to be some of the best programs are these intergenerational programs, and I really, I hope that eventually, as the world opens up and whatnot, we can kind of get to those things because I've seen them in action. And I see the benefits really on both sides, which are important. But they could always call. I believe if you call into the town, the town as a whole has volunteer ideas, and sometimes so it's you can always call 311. Obviously, we'll think about any of those things.
I
well,
mean,
what's
yeah, and
interesting with this
call the
particular
HR
one,
department.
Hmm.
yeah, he has worked in a nursery almost full time while going to college full time. And it's part of that. He has gone out with crews for landscaping and whatnot, and has the very strong desire to learn how to speak Spanish with the people who he works with, which
Hmm.
I think is a great idea.
That's
And I've
amazing.
told him
Absolutely.
100 times, I think it's really great.
Mhm.
I wish I spoke Spanish, to be blunt about it. Um, but I have enough trouble retaining English words at this point. You know? uh, but there's probably ways that we can match, or I can pay attention. Maybe there are other organizations um, that have needs for teenage, early college type
Mhm.
people, to do things. What they may be, I have no idea.
Absolutely. No,
You
there's
know,
definitely, and I'll definitely, think about that. But I think these are all good things, and hopefully, as the world kind of opens more, that there'll be more of these opportunities. Um, I also just want to remind people on a not super fun topic, but I have to get out there to remind you, is that the first half of general taxes are
Yeah.
due Wednesday, February 10th. I know that the town was offering some little locations that you could pay, but you can call 311 to get more information on that. So I just want to remind people.
One other thing that is happening tomorrow, and I don't know people that are not listening live but when they'll probably listen after the fact, is that we are expecting quite a snowstorm tomorrow. So, one of the things we want to do is, we've known that we're getting this now for a week. Come Monday, it wasn't, maybe we're getting a storm. We're getting a storm. We just don't know how bad it's going to be. That's when you start planning. Like Saturday, it's good for people who work. We're all inside, but food shopping, gassing up the car, all those kinds of things should be done by today. We because of the storm is tomorrow, we also opened up same day food shopping for today, so people could call. We don't do that anymore, but we're only doing that up to 2:00, because if you plan on food shopping on Monday, it could be hard getting out. So it's really just about, if you hear there's a storm, even if it's iffy, take care of those things so you're not stuck, and take care of them a day or two before.
You're so right, Beck, because I earlier in the week, I was like, oh, because it's like, there's nothing I could think of more dreadful is than like a very crowded supermarket. So as you said, earlier in the week, and I think it was Monday or Tuesday, this was coming, and I was like, you know what? Let me just go and stock up on like the essentials, of stuff that you need. And I was thinking, just as I'm really glad I did that, because now I don't have to like run out in like the mass chaos and try and get the staples, the milk, the bread, the eggs. There's all those jokes. My mom got pancakes because she said we need pancakes if we're snowed in. So these are the high list of things that we worry about over here at the Lou Fennell residence. But you're right, and it's still, I'm looking at my window right now. It looks okay out there. So if you need to get some last minute thing, I'd recommend getting that, now.
Fill up your car with gas.
Yes,
fill up your car with gas.
Absolutely. I did that this morning.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, it's making, we always talk about this, right? You'd rather prepare for something, and then, who knows, maybe things aren't going to be as severe as you see them, but I'd always rather to have, the staples, and especially if you needed salt for your walkway or, these things, you just have it kind of ready to go. Have your, my husband's so good, there's like the salts out there, the shovel is like, everything is like, ready. I'm all ready too.
And that's almost a guarantee that it won't be a bad storm if you prepare, because if you're overly prepared, chances are it's not going to snow. But
we were going to have a family gathering tomorrow with 23 people. Bunny's birthday.
Happy birthday, Bunny!
But we have, I think, wisely delayed it for a week.
That's good. But you know what? Bunny can celebrate. She deserves to have, like a month-long celebration. So I think that's nice. But no, Otto, what is Bunny's exact birthday?
Her birthday is tomorrow, the 29th.
Oh, it actually is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The big 8-0.
Oh, she's a baby.
Yeah.
Just a baby. Well, good for Bunny. Well, happy birthday, Bunny.
Birthday.
We love her very much.
Yes. Give her our best birthday wishes.
I will.
Great.
So I just want to remind everyone to please call 311 or 516-869-6311 to get any of the information we had today, because it's a lot of information, and there's a lot of great programs to take advantage of. Yeah, we really had a good show. A lot of scratching the surface with United Way. It's amazing though their 211. That it reaches throughout all of Long Island. You can get any. It's very similar to what we do, because if they don't provide the service, they're connecting people just like we do. We have a lot of programs, a lot of services, a lot of things we can do. But and if we don't have that service, we connect you to that service. Probably you do using a lot of the same agencies, and programs that United Way uses too. Absolutely.
So, well, that's it for the show. 2 hours flew by. Another great show, Kristina. Kudos to you for just pulling it out and always having really good information. And great to see you, Otto. Happy birthday to Bunny from all of us. And have a great week, everybody. And it was really, really a great show. And next week, same time, you were listening to Project Independence and You on Community Talk Radio. 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. Be well and be safe. Have a great weekend.